Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Always, and welcome back to Skybees. In the last episode, we were working on that thing, which we'll get to in a moment, and we did some questing. We're gonna do a little bit more of that today. We're gonna do a little bit of automation. We're gonna do a little bit of questing. That's kind of what things are going to be like for a while until we get to the point where we're making really cool stuff, and then we're going to be pretty much done with the series. So yeah, the ending is going to come very quickly once we get going. Once we get a handful of these ultimate singularities, we'll be done pretty quickly after that. Because reasons. Anyways, I have been working off camera, doing a handful of things. One, I've been working on that a little bit. The Singularity Machine, and I've also been doing some prep work for some quests. I made a bunch of steel casings and just kind of planning out some things and dealing with a little bit of a problem. So this guy is struggling to keep up with the honeycombs we have coming in now. Things will be better once we can upgrade to tier 3 or 4 apiaries. But basically, these tier 2 apiaries are making a lot of honeycombs. I believe they make 16 honeycombs every production. And that's a lot. Now, this one, I don't remember if I showed this off, but I have a bunch of these bees locked because we're not really using them. And so they just kind of stay in there. And we have the RGBs and the normal bees just kind of doing their thing in there. It's really useful. And honestly, I need to some of these bees need to learn how to do that. And, you know, like the diamond bees. The diamond bee is harvesting while the other one is in here. He'll be done by the time the other bee gets there, usually, and things will be good. So, kind of a nice thing, but it's not the most efficient. I could make it more efficient. Honestly, it might be best just to have one bee of each type. But there will still be some problems like with the sulfur bees and the salt bees wanting the same thing. And luckily the normal bees are smart enough to go after the other flowers for whatever reason. And I've tried to update, and updating it is usually not good. It didn't really improve anything. But the resourceful bees just aren't smart. And so it's really, really, really difficult to get anything done with them. Anyways, enough rambling. So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to automate so that we can potentially start making tier 3 and then eventually tier 4 apiaries. The biggest thing with apiaries, so if we needed 4 of these, we're missing honeycombs. We need a lot of honeycombs and honey blocks. Now, one thing to note, I do have a bunch of honeycombs in here, but we probably need a lot more. So you know what, let's just take these out. I grabbed them from down below, and what I've been doing is just kind of making them to blocks because blocks is a little bit more space efficient. And yeah, going from there. We have a ton of diamond, we have a ton of honeycombs coming in and a lot of resources, but we just starting to struggle to keep up with things. So we'll probably want to upgrade things to tier 3 before we start working on anything else. But one of the big things with that is making honey. So that's one thing we're going to automate. But let's get over here and talk about this machine. So the initial idea is good. We're going to kind of rearrange things. I'm going to have a little bit of a basement here just to make things a little bit nicer so that I can run the exporters, and we'll do that here soon. And I'll probably want to dig stuff like that so I know where to go. By the way, this is what I've decided on the walls of this and the floors. It looks a lot different. We'll get to that in a second, but basically what we're going to need is we're going to want to have an extractor pipe, so just an advanced logistical transporter, pulling out all of the singularities to put them into one place, because that'd be nice. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of things behind, so all of the power is going to be ran behind. We're going to put the importers, exporters, whatever, underneath, I think will work. Or we could put the logistical pipes underneath. That might be easier. and then we have our storage monitor, and we're going to put the detectors behind. So the big thing is, how do you get these guys to work? One, I have all of the storage monitors and the detectors that we need. I'll need to make the exporters. I forgot about that one. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But what is a problem is making all these stack upgrades and speed upgrades, because stack upgrades require speed upgrades. So we need a ton of them. And this is the fastest combination. So I did run some tests in a test world, basically making one of these guys, one singularity. And I found out a couple things. One, this is the fastest combination. So 1 stack upgrade and 3 speed upgrades is the fastest. 100%. It's not even close. And for this to make 10,000 items into there, it takes about 25 seconds. So it was like 23.6 seconds or something like that, if I remember right. I timed it on my phone. So that is kind of our benchmark. Now, there is a very slow processing speed, and if there's an extra stack in here, that's fine too. So basically, what we do is we set up all the storage monitors, and that will be easy. We'll have redstone lamps on all of them, with detectors. So hopefully they don't quasi-power. We'll have to deal with that if need be. But basic gist is this: we need to set a timer for 25 seconds, and I think the best way to do that is actually going to be with a clock. So if we have a clock, just a redstone clock, which we might even have one sitting around somewhere. Let's see if we have one in our system. If we do, that's going to be awesome. I can kind of show at least the idea. I'm going to make that we have 4. Yes. So what's neat with the redstone clock? Right, because we used them for the honey production. So we put this down, and we can have, oh great, ticks. We can have 200 ticks, which is 10 seconds. Oh man, that's not quite good enough. I mean, we could get a little fancier. Okay. So what we could do, so unfortunately that is the only clock in this mod pack, and this has been my struggle, is trying to find simple, compact ways to do this without, we don't need any refined storage right now. Simple, compact ways to do things without resorting to vanilla redstone, because I'm not very good at that, and it's a little bit more complicated than I'd like. But what we can do is grab a counter, I do believe. Accepts redstone. Let's see, F1 for help. So it should open. Hey, sensor counter, F1 for help. It does not like me asking for help. Is there not a book, like a physical book? Oh, it might not like me being in the inventory. There we go. Simple block that will count redstone pulses and emit a redstone signal when it reaches a certain number. Cool. So that is exactly what we want, and we want to set that back up. So let's grab a counter. It's machine base, pretty easy. A clock, and 3 redstone torches. And I need more sticks. So that is not too terrible. And then what we can do is we can set this up. So basically, let's get a light. So redstone. You know, let's just go ahead and teach the system how to make a couple of things. So first of all, I'm going to want to teach it how to make sticks for later. And that is going to be good. We're also going to want a lamp. And probably how to make that. Alright, So let's get a redstone lamp. And we can just kind of demonstrate what this is, and then I will set it up later. Not quite ready to do all that much work with this, but the basic gist is we're going to have a clock that is going to be on, let's see, 5 seconds would be 100 ticks. So 100 ticks. Wait, or is it delay? It's 100 delay. So 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay. So we want duration to be just a pulse. Full power every 5 seconds. So roughly, if we can see it, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roughly. We can kind of figure that out later. But the gist is we hit a button and that unpowers, we'll have basically a toggle and it unpowers something, and then we can set a counter up, and if this is 5 seconds, because we got, nope, all the way around. We got to do it this way. No? There we go. We want it to be, let's say, 5. So it's going to count, and every 5 seconds, it's going to get a count. And then pretty much every 25 seconds, I'll have to work with this a little bit, but every 25 seconds-ish, it lights that up. And then it holds that pulse for a little bit, but that's okay. We can work with that. And so the basic idea is we hit a button. We'll set a switch, basically, to activate the clock. The clock goes for 25 seconds with the counter, and then it resets the circuit. And when it does, it turns everything off. So that is the basic idea. Hopefully we can figure it out. And I think we are going to do the importers on the bottom because it's going to be easier to work down there. But yeah, just some ideas, and that is something that I'm going to have to work on later. So first thing I want to do is I want to make honey. So honey blocks are really important because they let us make apiaries, but they're not the easiest to get because of how everything is. If we wanted a honey block, we'd need to get some honey bottles, and that's just a pain. So what we can do instead is we can use the solidifier, and we just do 3 sticks equals some honey, and we have the solidifier down here already. We just need to hook this in. It faces you. This might be a little bit of a challenge, but that should work, and we can put that in there, and presumably we can tell it to make it's middle, nope, it's shift and control. I can never remember. Let's tell it to make 2 stacks of honey. It's missing the honey. I don't want it to know about the honey. It just needs to know about 3 sticks. So let's put this back in here. And let's actually just clear that. And clear that. And then we do sticks. 1. I guess we could just do 3 sticks equals 1 honey. And let's see if this actually works, because I do have a funny feeling that it's not going to. So if we make just 1 honey block, it throws the sticks in there and it doesn't do anything. That is unfortunate. So I wish this was a little bit smarter. I don't know if there's a way to get this to distribute all the items, but yeah, that is unfortunate. We could, yeah, I don't know. There's not a good way to do this, is there? I will look into this. This is something that I thought was going to be easy, but I forgot that cyclic is kind of dumb sometimes. And specifically with this, it just isn't going to be super useful. And that's the easiest way to make honey blocks. Like the only other way, like if it didn't require 3 different sticks, then this wouldn't be a problem. But, ugh, that's annoying. All right, let's get to the easier thing. I need to make a couple of things. First thing we're going to need to make is a destructor. So we're going to need 2 advanced processors. No, improved. Improved processors. We're going to need 2 of these. And then 1 each of the cores. And that will take a moment to process, but once it's done, we can make something kind of nice. And what we're going to do is, because I want to use these marine bricks are really pretty, but they require porcelain bricks and prismarine. Prismarine, easy. Porcelain bricks, however, require clay. And we don't have a good way of getting clay right now, except for these guys, which is why we're going to use these. We're going to break these. And I have some cables on me. So we're gonna want to do something. We're gonna want to bring some cables over here. And I think the easiest way is just gonna be from here and just bring it all the way across. Luckily, we have the super long reach for whatever reason. I think it's bugged, but it might not be. And there we go. So we're going to have... actually, I just realized we need 3 times all of that. But that's not too big of a deal. Is it done making them? It is. We can at least make 1 constructor and 1 destructor. So let's go ahead and get it to make 2 of these, 2 of those, and 4 of those. And we can at least try this out. So we have constructor and destructors. Now these are exactly how you might picture them. We need to place a cable right here, right there, and right there, I do believe. And then we want the constructor facing up. So this is going to be the problem. And we want the constructor facing up with a cable. And making all these is going to be just a pain. But we can tell this guy sand. He's just going to place sand there. And what's neat is we can then put a destructor like so. And we're going to tell him to blacklist sand. And what he's going to do is he's going to break anything that isn't sand. And so this is a fully automated farm. This will just continuously make whatever amount of sand we want. And we can do something like this. Oops, those break. Didn't know that. Let's grab some cobblestone blocks. I don't know if those are going to do anything, But yeah, it's fine. So we put these here. Why can't I place anything? There we go. So yeah, that is going to make sand. Not sand, it's going to make clay. And if we come back over here and look at our clay, every once in a while it should just increase by 4. Because what's happening is the destructor is breaking that clay block and putting the drops in there. Perfect. So the only thing that we might want is some way to turn it off. But let's go ahead and get the 2 more constructors and 2 destructors. And we're going to make it even more powerful. So we just do the same exact thing. Constructor. We don't need this cable. We don't need this cable. We can put this on sand. This one on sand. And then destructor. And that's just going to break sand and put it right back in. But that's okay, because we can tell it, hey, blacklist sand. You too. And now the only thing we need to do is figure out a way to make this somewhat smart so that it's not constantly using up my sand. Because I do have a limited amount of sand. And I don't want a ton of clay. So we could use a detector, actually. Let's get a detector. And what else can we use? At refined storage, is there a way? I mean, we could just have a detector on the breakers, on the destructors, and if, you know, only work without redstone signal. And we could have actually 2 detectors. We could go ahead and use these over here, and I can make another detector later. So we could have one output a signal. If sand is less than 1,000, it outputs a signal. And so this will not work. So we're gonna need some redstone. And as much as I hate doing this, we're probably gonna move the altar. So we're just gonna do this. Would that work? Do we have any way to use redstone in a better way? I don't know that there is, which is unfortunate. Let's see. We could use, you know, wireless stuff and all that kind of fun stuff, but I think, let's see, if we just set redstone behind it. I'm not very good with redstone. This is something that I've mentioned. And while we're over here, let's get another detector. And we're going to need some clay. So what's a good amount of clay? 500? How much sand? We have 500. So if it's underneath, let's say if it's under 1,000. So if I put just 3 redstone here and put a detector and say sand less than 750. And once I hook it up like so, that is on, but is that going to stop these guys? No. So what we need to do is have a detector. Unfortunately, we just don't have space right here. And I'm breaking my altar, which is okay, I guess. Let's get some repeaters. And 1, 2, 3. And then we can grab the other detector and put the 2 back. So we're just going to set up a fairly simple thing. I think we can do something like this. And then run wires underneath. Let's see. That works. Let's just get rid of... Actually, let's just come over here and get rid of it this way. So that they are connected to the system. And then if we put redstone repeaters here and here and here, we can have... Oh, but it's not going to go off if... Ooh. We need to have these back more. Yeah, I'm just going to destroy the altar for now. We can move it. It's not a big deal. And let's just break these guys. So I guess we'll need to do something like this. Then we can put this all like so. And then redstone. Again, I'm not very good with redstone. This is very basic, just to get it to work. So we put sand less than 1,000, it stops. And if clay is greater than 750, it would also stop. So no more working for that machine until I get more sand or I have less clay. And it's just so that I'm not constantly using the sand, because we might want sand for other things. So with that, this episode has gone on a little bit longer with a lot less done. So yeah, we have less than that sand, but how about the clay? The clay says 370. When over that amount. Okay, there we go. So if we have more than 750 clay, then it stops as well. Alright, now let's get on to the questing. So what we're going to do today is we are going to finish up the RFTools section as much as we can. And I have everything kind of listed out here. And so I am just going to start working on them. I have 7 steel casings, which we do need to turn into machine frames, which requires a thing of gold. So let's get 7 gold, I guess. And I believe... can I not? Okay, so how can we get gold for these? Gold dust. So I guess we could crush all of these. And I guess just throw them in there. It'll work just fine. So we only actually need 6. So that should be... They only do 10. Alright, so then we are going to enrich the last gold. And we'll throw it in there. Alright, that works. Or not. They gave us 8. So gold, dust. Let's enrich all of it. And there we go. And that's plenty. Cool. So we can start making some of the stuff. So the first thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and get the storage stuff. So modular storage is a thing from RFTools. Super useful sometimes. Not something I particularly care to use because it's not as powerful as refined storage, but it's still pretty cool. So modular storage. Now to use modular storage, you need to have storage modules. And they support up to 500 stacks of items. And you can do some cool stuff with it, but there is level 1. Level 2 also uses level 1, and so on. So level 3, we are going to need 2 blocks of gold and 2 blocks of quartz. Nothing too difficult yet. And then level 4 requires infused diamonds, which we don't have yet. So we'll leave that one for now. Modular storage, perfect. So yeah, modular storage is RFTools' version of item storage. There are a lot of different item storage mods in this mod pack. Refined storage, applied energistics, RFTools. Honestly, if you have refined storage or applied energistics, RFTools is not usually terribly useful unless you're doing things with RFTools, which this mod pack doesn't allow you to, because let's see, it has the utility mod, but it doesn't have the dimlets, and so it doesn't have the dimension builders or anything like that, which is one of the more powerful things of RFTools, where you can make your own worlds and kind of customize what's in them. You can have ender dragons flying around in worlds. It's really powerful. I've played with that before in other mod packs, but this mod pack doesn't have it, so RFTools is a lot less useful. So we can get rid of that. Don't care about that right now. We can get the other machines, frames, and what is the next thing we can make? So none of these are going to give us any items, so we'll just kind of go through them. Storage scanner. This thing scans inventories and shows you what's on all those inventories. Kind of cool. Not particularly useful for us because of reasons. Namely that we have a refined storage system that has all the items in it anyways. So storage scanner. Next, let's make the crafter tier 1. So we're going to need like 10 of those. Do we have many crafting tables? I wonder if those work. So crafter tier 1, they do not. We're going to need to make 6 crafting tables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So crafter tier 1, put it in the inventory, get the quest. Tier 2, inventory. Tier 3. So the crafters, there's 3 tiers, obviously. They do exactly what you might think. They craft things. They are an auto crafting system. Now, if I was worried about it and didn't think we would be able to get to the tier 3 apiaries too soon, we could use crafters on all of these guys. Now, unfortunately, they're a little bit more expensive than I'd like, but what a crafter can do is, well, it crafts. It has auto crafting for up to 8 recipes on the level 3. The tier 1 and tier 2, tier 1 does 1 crafting recipe, tier 2 does 5. So there's no reason not to use the tier 3. It's not that much more expensive than the tier 1s. And honestly, they're really powerful, but I don't see us using them in this mod pack just because we don't have much use for it. Maybe we will, but probably not. Alright, what is next? Let's take a look at the quest book and see. Let's go ahead and make the dimensional cell stuff. So there is a bunch of this stuff, and these are storage, power storage blocks. They can also store power interdimensionally. So we could have power storage for a power farm in the end and transfer it to another power storage here and be able to use both of them. Kind of cool, but again, not something we're going to use. So let's make this simple dimensional cell, and then the dimensional cell, which is a little bit more expensive. We're going to need more redstone blocks. And then for the next part, we need the advanced one, which requires infused diamonds, so we can't make that yet. Is this useful for anything? Nope. So the other big thing is that these guys are capable of being multi-block storage. So this one, specifically the simple one, only stores what? 250,000 RF or FE. This one stores 1,000,000, and the advanced one stores 4,000,000. But you can put multiple of them together to make even more storage. So they're powerful in that sense. They do require power cell cards to connect dimensional cells. Not something I really care about. Alright, so we can get rid of that, and quests are looking good. So next set of things we're going to make is the builder. So the builder is exactly what you might think. It builds things. It also has the potential, let's see, we need 16 of these guys smelted. The builder also has the potential not to just build with whatever like blocks you give it, but it can also destruct. It's effectively RFTools quarry. If you don't know what a quarry is, basically a quarry is a thing that mines a big area of the ground. Unfortunately here we don't have any ground, so it's not terribly useful for us. At least not that way. But yeah, it can quarry areas, pump liquids, move copies, swap structures, collect items, XP. It does a lot of different things. And the way you teach it what to do is with cards. So we're going to need 1, 2... Alright, we're going to need some more bricks. But luckily not too many. So it's not going to take long at all. And we can make the shape cards so that it's happy. So shape cards require a lot of paper. This is an area so you can build on it and then you can duplicate the structure. Or you can turn that shape card into a quarry card. And quarry sounds exactly what it does. It, digs out a big area. And then we can have a clearing quarry. So a normal quarry will like open it up, but a clearing quarry will I believe it makes everything air blocks. But doesn't really matter. We don't have a use for it. I'm not going to do anything with that in the mining dimension because don't really need to. Bees are too powerful in this mod pack, and that's kind of the point. So last but not least, and this is going to be important for other things, we need a machine infuser. And in order to get that, we're going to need dimensional shards. Now, there's not a good way in this mod pack to get dimensional shards except through the mining dimension, which I'm not going to go to. But we have all this stuff, and we have plenty of it, so we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 dimensional shards. And machine infuser, perfect. And it didn't detect the dimensional shards, so we've got to make another one, which is fine, because I think we need even more. So, with that, the only thing left that we need to make is some infused diamonds, which requires dimensional shards. So we're going to need 16... 32, so we're going to need 48 of these. And I don't really care to make any more, but let's just get exactly enough. We can make the infused diamonds, and then we can make the dimensional cell and block of diamonds, 2 blocks of quartz, and big booming noise. RFTools complete. So yeah, I have an extra machine frame. I miscounted. Oh well, that's fine. So yeah, everything in RFTools is now done. Really cool, but just kind of some quick crafting. The machine infuser, by the way, you can infuse things with dimensional shards, and they have different effects. So, for example, the dimensional cells, it reduces long distance power extraction costs and increases the RF per tick output. So it transfers more, and when you have the linked dimensional cells, it does require a little bit of power to keep that link, and so it just reduces that. A better thing to look at would be like, where are they? The crafters. The crafters, when they infused, reduce the power consumption. So that's kind of the idea. Some things are really good to be infused, especially if you have the dimensional stuff from RFTools. The dimension builder, the thing that makes the dimensions, and you have to power to keep those alive, or powered rather. That is the actual terminology. They are powered dimensions, and if they are unpowered, really bad things happen if you go to them. But basically, having those, you know, those world building tools activated, if you infuse it, it reduces the power consumption a lot, and some of those worlds can be very expensive, so it makes it a lot better. But we don't really have too much use for RFTools in this mod pack. Our base is pretty much done in terms of, we don't have too much more to set up. I mean, I know we have to do some astral sorcery stuff, but I might actually work on this to make it a little bit nicer and be able to repair my altar, but we'll see. Anyways, I think that is going to be where I end things off today. So I may work on the compressors, the singularity compressors between episodes. But one of the big things is we really can't do much until we get a lot of the speed upgrades, and that requires a ton of quartz enriched iron, which we get from here. So maybe this will be the next one. I make an apiary. I'm pretty close to being able to make an apiary. Another level 2. In fact, I should be able to. Yeah, I can very easily make one more of those and make an apiary storage, and I can hopefully start getting all that stuff coming in. But there is also the concern of this fills up fairly quickly. That's okay, but this fills up, and that's more of a concern. There's a lot of emeralds. So that is something I'm going to have to probably start thinking about fixing. And we'll worry about things with that later. So that is going to be it for today's episode. I do wonder real quick. So let's break this block. So we have things coming like that. Could we potentially make this faster just by, I mean, we could just upgrade this guy. In fact, I think that's what we'll do. Real quick, let's do that. So all we're going to do is just upgrade. Do we have any? We do have some alloys. Let's get the elite logistical transporters. We only need one of these. Let's grab our configurator. Make sure it's on items. And we got to find where we need to go. So what happens if we break this? It's going to take a moment. Put that there and configure it to pull. So that should be a lot better. And I have a funny feeling. Oh yeah, that is much quicker. We can take all the emeralds out. And out of here. And turn these into combs. Or honeycomb blocks rather, and that'll make things a little bit nicer. But yeah, that should help with extraction. And I don't anticipate this chest filling up. So that should be fine. Cool. So yeah, I am going to figure out how to make honey blocks automatically with the solidification chamber. It's a pain, but I'll figure out a way. And we'll go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!